How you doing? Good, good, good. Mr. Maxwell was just talking about the little gift. He's like, I gotta get mine. I didn't get one because we should be using hers to charge her. How you doing? Hey, you come in here. I had
I'm gonna remove ours too.
Elbow grease, there you go. The whole thing.
Oh, y'all did too. Oh, me.
I didn't take wood down. Spoke to that.
Yeah.
All right, ready? No. All right, ready?
Oh, there you go.
All right, good evening, everyone.
Evening.
It is 6 o'clock, so the work session for mayor and council for June 5th is called to order. Ms. Hood, can we have a roll call, please?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Roll call for June 5th, 2023 work session. Mayor Butler,
Present.
Councilmember James,
Present.
Councilmember Anton,
Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Councilmember Gutierrez,
Present.
Councilmember Akins Wells,
Here.
Councilmember Mears.
Yeah.
Mayor and council, you have a quorum.
Thank you so much, Mr. Clark. You have the floor for your city manager's report.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council, as well as our departments, constituents, and residents of the great city of Forest Park. Good afternoon, evening rather. Just a few updates. I know that we have some personnel that we wanted to introduce to everyone, new personnel within the police department, so I'll do that first. Over the course of the last month, we've hired 4 additional individuals within the police department. So I'll start with Major Charles Jones, and we'll ask him to stand and be recognized at this time. Welcome. Next, we have Captain Lloyd Owens of the Forest Park Police Department. And finally, Lieutenant Gerald Wilkerson. In addition to that, Mayor and Council, we also, today was the first day for our new court administrator, Mr. Cedric McEachin. Cedric's first day with the city of Forest Park to lead the courts for the city was today. In addition to that, council, as you know, we held our employee town hall, my first one, as we really push out what this new Forest Park initiative is. I wanted to show you just a clip from the Employee Fun Day, just to show you how we started off the activity. And one of the things we wanted to make certain of is that our employees knew that they were in an environment to where they could just speak freely. So we wanted to start the meeting off on a high note. Again, as I presented to each of you the results from that survey, we're confident that we have a foundation in order to push forth with operation and this operational excellence that's a part of this One Forest Park initiative. So thanks to all of you for your support, and we're looking for another way to engage with our employees. In addition, on that same day, our Human Resources Department, under the leadership of Director Brown, hosted a Employee Fun Day. While it's true that Public Works got beat at the first match, and ultimately the fire department won, and they beat the police department, one of the reasons that we know the fire department won is because they only used recruits on their team, which were much younger. So perhaps we need to have an actual match where firefighters play police officers and vice versa, so we can make sure it's on a level playing field. The other thing I want to bring before you, council, I know several of you have asked, as well as constituents in the community, have talked about the RFP relative to the housing rehab program. We're looking forward to bringing that to you at the end of this month for some revisions that we are proposing, as well as we're bringing before you this month the individuals that are over our rental program, just so that you guys can hear what's going on there as it relates to that particular program. In addition, we are working with GDOT on some upcoming interchange ramp modifications that will be done adjacent to southbound I-75, connecting Forest Park and I-285. This is a major catalytic improvement to that particular corridor, but we'll bring more about that to you at a later time. Within our police department, I know that over the weekend, there was some events that occurred. I'll share with you, our police department through our chief, Brendan Chris, is working to mitigate some of that as the summer months are upon us. We're just fortunate that we have a police department that is well capable of getting the job done. But I can articulate to you that we're currently working on a way to mitigate some of those efforts. Just a few notable events for you. If you'll just make sure your calendars are marked, on Thursday, June 22nd at 6:30, as well as Thursday, June 29th at 6:30, we'll have our public meetings and adoption for our fiscal year 23-24 annual budget. Council members, as stated in our budget work sessions, I will be coordinating with each of you individually just to finalize some of the things that are within that budget. We're happy to present to you a balanced budget this year with some amazing opportunities for us to engage with our community. Also, on June 17th, our Parks and Recreation Division is hosting the annual Juneteenth celebration there at Star Park. The event will be from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. Additional details to come on that initiative. The other thing of note that I want to share with you is that recently our code enforcement department, under the leadership of Director Gardner, we've started doing blitzes in the community, just trying to ensure that all of our businesses have active business licenses. And our first sting operation that we did on the northwest quadrant of this community, we were able to find 21 actual businesses that did not have a license who were then cited. And I'm saying this publicly so that the businesses that are operating within the city know that we will not allow you to operate a business and make money off the backs of our residents without having an active license, because that in turn takes away from all of us. We are also working with code enforcement just with these beautification efforts, trying to ensure, based upon some of the complaints that you guys are receiving in your neighborhoods, that we come up with a plan to help identify what some of those areas of concern are. I'll go back. I see that we had the two new individuals from the police department join us. So first, I would like to introduce Captain Lloyd Owens. I think that just came into the room. As well as Lieutenant Gerald Wilkerson. The official monthly presentation of the city manager's report will be at the end of the month, now that I see how things cycle. So we'll get that to you instead of me doing it every other week. That's a lot of work. But no, thank you guys. It's really been a great opportunity within this less than a month being here, just trying to get around, meet everyone, see all of our facilities so that we can come back before this body and put forth steps to make this city better, one community at a time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Item 1, the Steve Lundquist Indoor Pool Soils and Building Foundation Investigation Report. Background and history. A full soils and building foundation investigation was conducted by Engineered Systems and Services to find the source of the ongoing leak in the indoor pool. ESS evaluated the pool shell foundation, integrity of the building's foundation, and the soil surrounding it to determine if there are any evidence of structural damage present. This report is being submitted and presented to provide transparency to the council and the citizens of the city of Forest Park about the ongoing work being done to the indoor pool. And I'm going to ask Mr. Maxwell if you could come forward, please.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon, evening. Excellent.
Once again, purpose for this is to have Mr. Jonathan. He's gonna come up and present his findings, answer any questions that you guys may have, and let you know that what he recommend we should do from here. Okay.
Thank you.
Director Maxwell, real quick, what happened with Parks and Rec at the kickball? People were asking.
Well, we made it to the championship.
Love the
But-
optimism.
Everyone's a star in the park, though. Remember.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Jonathan Rucker. I'm with Engineered Systems and Services and had the pleasure of working with your staff here at the Parks and Recreations Department to evaluate the pool. Our company, Engineered Systems and Services, was joined by United Consulting and Smiley Structural Engineers to conduct an evaluation of your structure for the pool, particularly the foundation and the soils upon which it rests. And our job was to certify that the integrity of the foundation was good enough to go ahead and proceed with the construction. And we, we conducted multiple visits, actually did some excavation beneath the slab. We found that there were some significant leaks there that gave you just cause to be concerned. And those leaks were found to actually be somewhat benign in terms of what the impact was on the foundation. Found the foundation was in good shape. It actually had drained water away from the pool as it should have. And we found that as a consequence, you could go ahead and proceed with construction there at the pool. You've got some photos here that show some of the excavation that had been done by the contractor that had gotten a permit for the project. And we worked hand in hand with that contractor just to verify that any of the excavation that they would further do would leave no or create no harm to the structure. Our greatest concern was for the adjacent gymnasium, which was supported by a foundation right there next to the pool. The leak that we found that was significant was right there next to that building foundation. So it turned out that water was draining away, even though there was a large volume of it. And it was generally okay. So we cleared the construction to proceed for renovation of the pool based on our findings. We, however, did find some additional damage that had been done by exterior water, not the interior water from the pool. And we've made some recommendations on installing some new downspouts and drains for that system. And you should be in good shape from there. But as far as the construction is concerned, I think you're going to be in good shape. We had our geotechnical engineer and structural engineer certify that. We have a report that's stamped by them as well. And if you have any further questions, we'd be glad to answer any that you have.
All right, thank you very much. Councilwoman James, any questions or comments? Councilman Antoine?
Thank you for your findings.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yeah, thank you, sir. That was very thorough. Thank you for the pictures also to visualize it. So I remember one of the concerns being just the leakage of the water and the water disappearing. So where was the water going then?
So with the pool, which was constructed back in 1961, it did at least have a drainage system below that enabled the water to drain off site. There was a bed of gravel that we have surmised was responsible for helping direct that water away from the foundation. Our greatest fear was that it was actually undermining parts of that foundation and creating voids, but we found no evidence of that. Now, that said, we did not conduct invasive investigations beneath the slab throughout the pool. There could be some isolated places, but the structure of the pool is in good shape. We certified that.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Wells?
No, thank you.
Councilman Mears?
Good information.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Forest Park Fire and EMS announces 2 new paramedics. And I'm going to ask Mr. Joe Meany to come forward and do the honors, please.
He's back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give it up.
So on tonight's COVID report, no, I'm just kidding. Good evening, Mayor, Council, City Manager. First and foremost, as the kickball champions, we'd like to say we're more than happy to take on Public Works or the Police Department again in about 6 months when those recruits are full firefighters. So yes, we do have 2 new paramedics in the city of Forest Park. And first and foremost, I kind of want to introduce what a paramedic is and what kind of the difference is and why this is such a big deal. So we see the word paramedic on ambulances all the time, paramedic ambulance. We see it on TV. We hear it over the radio. We hear them talk about paramedics, but what is the difference between an EMT and a paramedic? The EMS system of care provides pre-hospital emergency medicine to critically ill and injured patients as a team. The treatments that are provided by these members in the team can save lives and limbs in these patients if administered quickly and correctly after an injury or illness occurs. EMT currently is the lowest level of care that includes assisting patients with prescribed medications of their own and basic levels of medical assessment and care provided from equipment on an ambulance. Advanced EMT is the middle level of care, which allows them to give about 12 medications and assist with more medications of their own from the patient. And paramedic is the highest level of service provided in the pre-hospital emergency medicine setting. The paramedic certificates or degrees must be obtained through an accredited organization providing National Education Model Education, which has minimum standards and requirements for them to call themselves paramedics. The National Registry of Emergency Medical Technicians uses that national standard of education to create the minimum standards and testing for the paramedic positions. The State Office of EMS and Trauma for Georgia recognizes the National Registry as the testing standard and will issue a state license to practice as a paramedic based on those test results. Paramedic programs generally provide between 1,200 and 1,600 hours of didactic in-classroom learning and education, with over 500 hours of clinical experience riding on ambulances with other paramedics and in the emergency room in hospitals with physicians and nurses. So as a student, you get your hands on actual patients and actual emergency care to learn a hands-on side of how we do our job in the field. The National Registry Test at the end of this program is comprised of a 2-hour time limit written exam that is adaptive to answers. So as they answer questions, the questions will ask more questions on questions they missed. It is also followed by a psychomotor or hands-on test, testing 6 very advanced skill stations that generally take about 4 hours to complete as well, and test them on their experience of education and their lessons learned. Paramedics, after they're done and licensed, are able to administer a multitude of medications with approval of a medical directing physician over an agency, and can perform advanced skills for critical patients such as endotracheal intubation, EKG reading and cardiac rhythm identification, advanced medical treatments and advanced trauma treatments. And these treatments can result directly in patients being able to come home from what would otherwise be a life or limb altering or ending event. Paramedics are imperative to the city of Forest Park and provide the highest quality of care for citizens through their preparedness, education, and action, meeting the highest definition of an employee for the fire department by the standard of the department's own mission statement. I would like to take this time to congratulate Joseph Kidd and Takuya Gatlin on the achievement of their paramedic certification and state licensure, and welcome them to the top of the career ladder in emergency medical services. With that being said, I would also like to encourage both of you to continue to push forward, continue learning, and strive to understand fully pre-hospital medicine and the operations of it. Congratulations, guys.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, congratulations, gentlemen. Item 3, council discussion on cloud-based camera system for public safety building, background and history. The new public safety building needs to have security cameras added. The IT department is recommending a proposal for Verkada cloud-based cameras. These are very high quality cameras that provide remote access for better security, have both on-premise and cloud-based storage, and Verkada excellent 24/7 support for any issues. This would be a 3-year agreement, which includes unlimited cloud storage, 14 high-quality exterior cameras, and a 10-year hardware warranty with the next day RMAs. The IT department is asking for approval to enter into a 3-year agreement to implement this video security system for our new public safety building. Hi. You have the floor, sir.
Not much to add. It's like I said in there, it is a cloud-based security camera system. It also integrates with some more technology we're implementing with our police department through our Fusus program for our security cameras as well. So I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
Thank you. Councilwoman James. Councilman Antoine.
No, thank you.
Councilman Gutierrez. Councilwoman Wells.
No, thank you.
Councilman Mears.
Ma'am.
One question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this ultimately what all the buildings are going to be equipped with?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. Thank you. Item 4, council discussion of GDOT maintenance contract, background and history. The city has previously authorized the acquisition and installment of Flock license plate reader cameras in July of 2022. Some of the cameras will be installed on poles owned or maintained by GDOT and in GDOT right-of-ways. GDOT requires that the city enter into an attached maintenance agreement in order to do so. Staff has reviewed the agreement and recommends approval. Thank you, Chief Chris. You have the floor.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
This is just an agreement. We have automatic license plate readers throughout the city of Forest Park, and some of those cameras are located on some of the state routes that run through the city. And this maintenance agreement allows the maintenance agreement is between us, Flock Safety, as well as GDOT, so that Flock can maintain those cameras on those right-of-ways. That's it.
Thank you. Councilwoman James.
No questions, thank you.
Councilman Antoine.
No.
Councilman Gutierrez.
Hey, Chief, are these cameras like the ones that the Lake City Police have that scan the uninsured tags or?
Yes, sir.
So we're gonna be getting those on our cars?
No, so these are standalone posts. And they're throughout, and we can, our officers can log into those cameras and it will alert us if a car comes by, but one of those cameras with expired registration, no insurance, or a stolen vehicle.
So we'll, I guess, if we get this, then we would go initiate a stop or they'll get something in the mail?
No, we would initiate a stop.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Wells.
No, I would just like us to correct polls. It's POLES instead of POLLS. That's all. I'm sorry. I just thought that.
Oh,
But thank you. Chief.
yeah. Councilman Mears. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
That correction will be noted. Item 5, council discussion on termination of janitorial contract, background and history. For the past year, Essential Technologies has provided citywide janitorial services for all city buildings. The city issued an RFP for citywide janitorial services on February 16th of 2022. Essential Technologies, Inc. was the top-ranked proponent as well as the lowest in cost. Unfortunately, the service was not up to the city standards. There have been widespread complaints about the quality of their work. After numerous attempts by the Public Works Department and the Procurement Division to bring the deficiencies to their attention, complaints by several departments continued. The city is requesting we terminate this janitorial contract with Essential Technologies, Inc. and assign the contract to Lorraine Cleaning Services, a local company, on an emergency basis for the following departments: City Hall, Human Resources, Planning, Economic Development, and the Council House. The funding will be spread amongst the various departments until janitorial services for the city are procured. Oh, hi.
Oh,
Thank you. You have the floor, sir.
you basically said it all. And we're just looking to go into an emergency basis with Ms. Lorraine. She was a part of this contract as a subcontractor. We're in the process of preparing an RFP to go back out on the street. And probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman James,
No question.
Councilman Antoine,
No, thank you.
Councilman Gutierrez.
So, these are the people that come and clean our offices now. I think initially they had rolled over to another company and we're having trouble reaching that company. Or is it with the individuals, the ladies that come and clean here?
It's basically been labor.
Oh.
We're having labor problems all over the world right now. So what we plan to do is kind of divide this contract up. And hopefully it'll just be 2 local firms. Because this is a larger firm and they had problems trying to get people to be here on a daily basis.
I understand. Okay, and I guess keep us posted when it goes out to RFP, because I know some.
Oh, most
cleaning
certainly.
companies. Thank you, sir.
Councilwoman Wells.
I guess my question was kind of like Councilman Gutierrez. I'm just trying to see because I'm one of the big complainers. I have OCD and I like things clean. And so I'm just trying to see if like he said, is the company, the Lorraine Cleaning Service, those are the people who are here now.
They just took over, yeah. It's on an emergency basis. We had to have somebody here to clean up.
So that they don't have anything to do with who we've had for years, the people who clean City Hall, who were cleaning City Hall?
We didn't have complaints about Miss Lorraine. We had complaints about Essential Technologies. They had other buildings like the police department, public works, where most complaints were coming from.
Okay. And on an emergency basis, that mean when we call them?
Well, no, they're here daily,
Okay,
but the emergency basis where we had to get somebody in place immediately.
okay. Thank you, Mr. Jeter.
Councilman Mears. Thank you. City of Forest Park Medical Plan Renewal, background and history. Annually, staff works with our broker for the purposes of renewing our medical premiums for the upcoming year. We are excited to report that this year, we are not experiencing an increase. By combining our plans under Cigna, we are experiencing a significant decrease. The city manager and the Human Resources Department have worked to ensure that all of our plans are completely funded. The attachment shows a breakdown of our renewal premiums and any applicable savings. And Ms. Brown, is there anything you would like to add before I call our brokers up? Okay, and our brokers are? I know Ms. Crystal Kelly and.
Good evening, Mayor and Council,
Good evening.
City Manager. My name is Rob Peters. Kelly. We're two people that support the city. It's thrilling to see Chris Pritchard. We appreciate it. The opportunity to come here tonight and share with you as much as you'd like to know about the plans, but what you said as a summary is true. We have had a good, successful negotiation. Definitively, that was a 2.5% decrease under current for the same exact plans. We were able to move the dental and the vision insurance over to Cigna, and that helped get us 1%. But the original renewal started at 10%, and it was negotiated ultimately to negative 2.5%. That quantifies out to about $120,000 in annual savings, as is. Reason for that, we had a good plan year. We were able to use leverage to push Cigna in the best interest of the city.
We also improved on your dental plan. So there's been great improvements there. You have a wellness budget that you have this year of $20,000 to use to increase wellness initiatives and activities. And as Rob just stated, all else is the same with a significant decrease.
Thank you. Councilwoman James, any questions or comments?
Yes, so with the change, thank you so much. Appreciate the discount that we're getting. Is there any significant decrease in the amount of doctors that's in the plan, or are the doctors pretty much the same as what they were before?
Ma'am, no change. It's the same.
Everything is the same. Okay, thank you.
Councilman Antoine,
Questions? Thank you.
Councilman Gutierrez,
So the doctor access is not changing at all like it did last time?
Correct.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Wells,
No.
Councilman Mears. I just had a question. Can you just explain the process of how you market us to prospective insurers?
I have been a broker in this market for 20 years. Our firm is the largest independently owned private firm in the state of Georgia. I've had the pleasure of serving the city now for going on 10 years. And we market to every carrier in the marketplace. So we're independent. And when there is a RFP that goes out, we broker it to every carrier that's in the market, which is for the health insurance is kind of a shrinking market with the most recent news of Humana exiting the marketplace. But with regard to non-medical products, we also shop that market to all of the viable carriers. This year, we spent a lot of time focused on the dental insurance to ensure that we were able to optimize from a quality standpoint the program, and which we've been able to do. We've also secured a 2-year rate guarantee by improving the plans, which is, we moved it from Anthem that gave us a 15% increase. So we've got a pretty big delta to what we were able to negotiate versus what was being presented from Blue Cross. I've provided mayoral council and the city manager with a 2-page executive summary that does try to provide you with an abbreviated snapshot of some of the highlights for each of those products.
Thank you.
But-
Vision plan also has a 2-year rate guarantee, and those benefits have increased as well because you're moving from True Blue network to Cigna's network, and they utilize IB. So it has a larger network there too. So minor things, but they are huge enhancements as far as utilizing your benefits, but also we tend to increase education and technology access to care this year.
Yeah, that's a good point. Crystal's spending a lot of time with ADP, building out the modules that you have, and city manager, we've encouraged the use of, for the first time, logging in and making plain elections online. So we're excited about that and talking about that starting Wednesday. We have about 10 meetings lined up starting Wednesday here in this room. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. They're mandatory with all of the staff, and it's exciting.
Yes, and your benefit guides will be electronic as well. We have some in paper, but we'll have mostly your benefit guides electronic with embedded videos and access to questions. If you have any, be here on site, and there will be a number.
Thank you. Thank you. Council discussion on Peachtree Recovery Services. Background and history. The purpose of this memorandum is to request authorization for the city manager to execute an agreement with Peachtree Recovery Services, Inc., or PRS, for the provision of property damage revenue recovery services to the city. Damage to city properties such as fire hydrants, pavements, signs, guardrails, athletic facilities, etc., occurs on a frequent basis. Usually, insurance companies set aside funds for such damages, but most local government agencies do not have the time and capacity to investigate such accidents internally. The Georgia Municipal Association partnered with PRS to create a revenue recovery program and negotiated the agreement on behalf of the cities of Georgia. Through this program, PRS accesses Georgia's traffic report database to capture all instances where an accident has occurred within the city limits to identify estimated damages. Based on the traffic accident reports, PRS initiates a claim on behalf of the city. The agency has the ability to identify and track down the responsible parties. After negotiating, settling, and resolving claims, PRS receives funds from the responsible parties or the insurance companies, retains a fee of 17%, and remits the remaining funds to the city every month. City staff reached out to the cities of Hinesville, Calhoun, and Griffin to find out about their experiences with PRS. All the organizations responded with positive feedback about the services provided by PRS. PRS is also working with the cities of Atlanta, Savannah, Noonan, and Valdosta, and local government agencies in Alabama, North Carolina, and Indiana. To identify all potential claims, PRS will review both current accidents and accidents within Georgia's 4-year statute of limitations. The agreement has a 3-year term, and the statute claims recovery is spread out over 3 years. PRS also sends monthly claim reports to identify all potential claims. As part of the city manager's 100-day action plan, revenue recovery remains one of the top efforts. These efforts will allow us to identify any missed revenue, unpaid revenue, policies, and code language that simply needs to be updated to reflect current trends more accurately. This initiative, along with others to come down the pipeline, will set the pace for future recovery efforts. Mr. Clark, anything you would like to add?
No, ma'am, you summed it up, Mayor. We actually have Todd Road here with Peachtree Recovery Services. One of the things I'll share, we are forecasting that there is approximately upwards of $40,000 that is on the table that the city of Forest Park has not collected. As you previously stated, this is one of many initiatives that my office will be bringing before you related to revenue recovery.
You have the floor, sir.
Mayor and council, thank you so much. My name is Todd Road. I'm with Peachtree Recovery Services. We've been in business since 2015. We have about 50 clients in the state of Georgia. We're also in Tennessee, Texas, South Carolina, quite a few other states. We get all our excitement and joy from reading crash reports, so I'm sure the police would have a lot to talk about with you guys. What we do is we do review 100% of these, and we're basically data mining, right? We're going to work through GDOT. We're not coming through the city's department to look at the crash reports. We'll go through the GEARS system, and we data mine. We're looking for the any kind of damage to city assets down to $100. That includes trees, grass, anything in the median, anything that the cities are typically going to maintain and repair. This is an example of some of the damage. This is also some historical perspectives on the traffic accidents that typically occur going back to 2014. So you can see the city stays under about 1,000, under 1,000 accidents each year. We're going to go back to the past 4 years, review everything coming forward, and also the three-year term. We'll review all of those as well. And basically, we're going to search to try to find everything we can. So we'll be chasing the uninsured, hit and runs, all those kind of things to get what we get. So that kind of gives you a perspective in terms of dollar values, what you would see on a year-to-year basis. Our services are kind of designed that where we work on a contingency fee. So if we were to work for Forest Park for a year and we did not return any money to the city, The city has no obligation to pay anything to us. We think that we should be providing a valuable service before you pay for it. So that's why we use that. The other things that we kind of alleviate from the city is the labor. We do all the work. We do all the running down of the insurance companies. We chase these claims for up to a year. If we don't have anything, we will, after a year, any promise of payment or anything, we close it out. We annotate that in all the reporting. So the city manager is going to have complete documentation on everything we're pursuing. We also provide that reporting too, just for accounting purposes, so that if the city wanted to take the money that's coming back and split it up among multiple departments, a lot of cities just throw it in general fund, but if you wanted to split it up, we'll work with the city manager to figure that out, and our reporting will tell them exactly what's got to go where. So we try to make that a lot easier. This just gives you a list of some of the clients we have in Georgia and some of the other states that we're actually in. This is very quickly on our process. Typically start up within 2 months, the city should start seeing some of those funds come back in from us. It takes us about a month to get our software and all set up, get connected up with GDOT, get access to all the crash reports. Then within 2 months, we're rolling with it. So after we get the contract, we work with the city manager to get a little bit of information on the profile of the city, specifically what utilities you own. And then we look at some of the roadways, the quantity of, interstate, county roads, all the state maintained roads. Typically, we can't claim those assets unless we have a contract for them. But that's pretty much all that's required from the city. So typically, once we get that contract, within 2 months, we're off and running, and it'll be hands-free for the city. Then the little diagram on the right just kind of tells you what we actually go through. So we pretty much do it all ourselves. The city always has the right to forward any kind of claims like that you don't have the resources to do. Just push them over to us and we'll be able to handle those for you. Then the last page here just kind of gives you some of the statistics from what we actually see. Like the average claim value in Georgia is about $24.50 in terms of the damages. And it takes us roughly about 34 days to recover those funds once we start pursuing them. And then this gives you some examples of some of the clients that we work with, some of the recoveries that we're actually gathering from other cities. And I am ready for any questions that you may have.
Yeah, I have one.
Sure.
Todd, I know that when we initially received this proposal, the administrative fee was at 19%, and I kept pushing.
You worked it backwards, yes, sir.
But then in doing my research, I was able to find a community very near to us who had a percentage of 16.5. And when I negotiated this percentage down, I was under the assumption that the standard across the board was 19.
That is correct.
And so my ask is, if that particular city that is very close to us has 16.5, I'm not sure what the rate hold is. I know we have a 5-year rate hold. Are we able to negotiate that further?
Yeah, that is correct. I mean, typically the rate hold is usually 3 years or whatever your initial term is. I mean, a lot of the counties we work with can only do a 1-year contract. So typically we hold it for the 1 year and we could negotiate that. If you wanted to push to 16.5, make the change to 16.5 and we'll work with you on that, definitely.
Thank you. I just wanted Mayor and Council.
They're unique because we've had their contract for many years. And a lot of times they're on the back end of 5 years. So once they go through an RFP and we renew, they probably won't be able to get that same 16.5%. We've just been with them for a while.
Yeah, I think the original contract, well, I know the latest was 2020, and since that was just 3 years ago, it would just be my ask if we could remove ours from 17 to 16.
Yeah, so that's just about through the initial term. So what our contract says is after the initial term, we have the right to come to the city to request a change if we feel we need one. Typically, we don't do that too much because most of our processes are automated. We don't use a whole lot of people. So we try to keep our operating costs very low so that we don't have to make a lot of changes. Last thing we want you to get the feel is we're trying to nickel and dime you. So we're not trying to do that. So if that's what you guys feel is best for the city right now, that's fine. We'll work with you on that.
Thank you. Councilwoman James.
Yes, thank you so much, And thank you, Mr. Clark, for bringing this. So question I have for you is a scenario that I had maybe, I don't know, a year ago. I actually saw a tractor truck run over a curb and destroy I don't know what you call it. Mr. Jinks probably know the correct terminology, but it was a drain and just crashed it. And I immediately called and started videoing. So is that the kind of stuff that you all track down for us?
Yes, just about anything people can hit with an automobile is typically what we will go pursue. And that's a long list of assets for the city. I mean, it'll include things like asphalt, maybe a trailer, cuts loose from a vehicle, which happens quite a lot, and it just tears up the asphalt. We're going to go after the cost for the asphalt. So we basically are going to pursue pretty much everything that the city is going to have to maintain, right? So if there's any work that you're going to have to go do, that's in terms of cleanup and repair. We're going to include all of those costs.
Thank you.
Councilman Antoine.
Does it include mailboxes too?
If the city maintains those and repairs those, if they get run over, it would. If the city does not, then we wouldn't have the right to pursue that.
Okay.
It's only for what the city's assets are.
Councilman Gutierrez.
I just saw a MARTA bus stop get like plastered by a car. Well, I didn't see it happen, but I saw the aftermath of it. Would that be included with this or no? That would be on MARTA.
It would be MARTA's responsibility to fund the cleanup and the repair. They are kind of a private entity, so they're a special government for the city of Atlanta. So we would have to go after them directly.
So in that scenario, would we fix it, city manager, and then we charge them or no, we just got to call them to come down and do that?
Great question. Typically, the way the MARTA shelters are handled, it's property of MARTA. So if there's any damage to MARTA's property, and typically they get right-of-way easements to wherever their shelters are located, MARTA would go after whomever damaged it. They would replace it and they go after whomever damaged it, similar to what we're doing with our property.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Wells.
Does this include homes? Somebody asked about mailboxes. I was just trying to be funny. No, I would just like to say thank you, City Manager, for bringing this forward. I think it's a great thing. But I do have a serious question. So the trucking companies, right, that we have in the city of Forest Park, I know on one street in my ward, there's a lot of damage and the city is always cleaning it up. So that we will go after those trucking companies to repair that, or?
That's correct. Now, the thing to kind of note with all of this is that we need to have a crash report written so that the police department has identified who the responsible party is. Damage to an asset that nobody ever sees is very difficult to run down. A lot of cases, we do try to do our research. We reach out to local businesses, especially those with cameras, to try to find out what we can. But sometimes that gets pretty difficult, especially if there's no information, on those accidents. But these guys, if they write all these crash reports for those things, we certainly go after that. And insurance companies don't question it at that point.
Okay, and thank you, City Manager, for allowing us to be a part of your negotiating.
Councilman Mears.
Well, I think it's a great idea. I think we should move forward with it.
All right, thank you, sir. Item 8, council discussion on the amendment of city holiday ordinance. This housekeeping ordinance merely amends the city code to provide that the city shall observe those legal holidays designated by the governing body by resolution entered upon the minutes. Each December, the city council approves the holiday schedule for the following calendar year. This ordinance memorializes the city's existing practices into the code while also giving the city the flexibility to examine the calendar each year to take into account situations such as things as when holidays fall on weekends, or city council meeting days. This is pretty self-explanatory, but any questions or comments, Councilwoman James?
Well, I was hoping to see the list of holidays. I know we added a couple. We had added Juneteenth. Are all the ones that we've added before included in this?
Yes.
In this ordinance, okay.
So one of the things, the code at current does not have the Juneteenth holiday listed. So as we're going back through some of the codes that we currently have on the book, we're just trying to clean them up. So each year when we bring before you the holiday calendar, this amendment here will not require us to actually do a text amendment to amend our code. Whatever holiday schedule we set, the text in the ordinance will reference this holiday schedule that you guys approved. This is just simply housekeeping because each of the holidays were individually listed within the code.
Okay, so this is just the holidays that are on the books for nationwide and not necessarily, because I know we did like a birthday. We allow employees to take a day for their birthday and that kind of thing as well.
I'm not aware to the birthday, perhaps it's a floating holiday. Personal day. And
Mhm.
so what this would do, whenever HR or my office brings this before you for the annual adoption of the employee holiday calendar for that year,
Okay.
whatever days we approve at that time will be the days for the city. This
gotcha.
language just allows that particular action to serve as final, instead of us having to update the code for additional days.
Okay, got you. Thank you.
Councilman Antoine.
No question.
Councilman Gutierrez.
Nope.
Councilwoman Wells. Councilman Mears.
Ma'am.
All right, thank you. And we have about 15 minutes. You think we could get through one of the items? Okay, I'm gonna ask for motion to recess the work session and enter into executive session for personnel, litigation, real estate, or legal matters. That was Councilman Antoine. Is there a second?
I'll
That
second.
was Councilwoman James. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. We shall return. Where is Hector?
Was that Ellis in that video dancing?
Okay, well,
Doing the dig. What?
well, we'll start without him.
What?
You guys ready?
You talking about this dance?
Oh, no. Is there a motion to adjourn the executive session and reconvene into our work session? That was Councilman Mears. Is there a second?
I'll
That
second.
was Councilwoman James. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. And before we adjourn the work session, Chief Chris, I'm going to ask if you take the podium, sir. You have an announcement to make.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
So tonight I would like to recognize two of our officers on a job well done on a life-saving event. So back on May the 19th, had two officers respond, Officer Ellis and Officer Dawes. Would y'all stand up, please? Come on up with me. Right there, perfect. These two officers responded to a person down call in the city of Forest Park. And all of personnel was tied up because they had another critical incident going on. Upon these officers' arrival, they began life-saving measures, CPR, to a young lady who was not breathing, no pulse. And through their many minutes, several minutes of them performing CPR on this young lady who was not breathing, they was able to get a pulse and get her back breathing on her own. And it took several minutes for the fire department to arrive because they was on another, like I said, critical incident. So without these two gentlemen here, fast acting and putting their training to use, that young lady is able to see another day. So if we could just give these two officers a job well done and applause. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, so much. Now, is there a motion to adjourn the work session?
So moved.
That was Councilwoman James. Is there a second?
Second.
That was Councilman Mears. In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. So it is 7:02, and the regular session for mayor and council for June 5th is called to order. Dr. Payton, are you doing tonight's invocation? Okay, thank you. So all those who can stand, please do so, and then remain standing throughout the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you now for this time of gathering that we have come to do business on behalf of this city. God, we invoke your presence here because we know we can't do anything without you. We pray, God, now that you would direct our actions, our thoughts, our conversation, and let it all be done for your glory. In Jesus' name, amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Hood, roll call, please.
Roll call for June 5th, regular meeting. Mayor Butler,
Present.
Councilmember James,
Present.
Councilmember Anton,
everybody. How's everybody doing?
Councilmember Gutierrez,
Present.
Councilmember Akins Wells,
Here.
Councilmember Mears.
Here.
Mayor and Council, you have a forum.
All right, thank you so much. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 proclamations and or presentations. So I'm going to ask the governing body to come forward with me. Just want to bring all of you. Okay. So if we come up forward with us.
Right, phone. I see your phone.
Okay, this first proclamation is as follows. Whereas Kiwanis International is a diverse global network of clubs, members, and volunteers dedicated to improving the lives of children, one community at a time. And whereas with more than 550,000 members located throughout 80 countries, the Kiwanis organization hosts nearly 150,000 service projects and completes more than 19 million service hours annually, while also raising over $340 million to support the fight, against large-scale challenges like fighting disease, hunger, and poverty. And whereas since 1923, the Kiwanis Club of Forest Park has served as a vital community partner that teaches local youth about the importance of leadership skills, positive self-esteem, civic engagement, and strong moral character. And whereas the Kiwanis Club of Forest Park has supported dozens of programs and initiatives designed to help improve the overall quality of life for children, including but not limited to Cub Scouts, youth soccer, Little League Baseball, food pantries, music programs, and the National Junior Honor Society. And whereas through the investment of time, talent, and resources, the Kiwanis of Forest Park continues to create a better tomorrow for Clayton County by remaining focused on nurturing minds, fueling creativity, and family-focused philanthropy. Now therefore it be resolved, the City Council of Forest Park hereby recognizes the Kiwanis Club of Forest Park and Kiwanians across the globe for their incredible commitment, dedication, and service to giving each child a chance to learn, dream, and most importantly, succeed. Is there anyone here? Is there anyone here from the Kiwanis? Okay. Oh, do we have any family members of Miss Elise Cox Overton with us today? Yes. Can you guys please come forward? I'm sorry, Miss Elsie. So this is a very special proclamation that we are so honored to give. So this proclamation is as follows. Ms. Elsie Cox Overton was born on June 1st, 1919, to Mr. Oscar Bell and Ms. Emma Jones, and is currently ranked one of the oldest living residents in Clayton County and the entire state of Georgia. And whereas, having been born just after the end of World War I, Ms. Overton's memories of growing up in the 1920s and 1930s still remain vivid to this day, including a tour of the Kennesaw Mountain Civil War battlefield given by her grandfather, Mr. Kelly, who was a veteran of that battle, as well as a ride in a new Model A Ford her father bought on the eve of the 1929 stock market crash. And whereas Ms. Overton worked for the Avon Corporation in Atlanta and retired after more than 20 years of service, but continued to remain active in her community through her volunteer work as a member of the Rock Springs Baptist Church and poll worker for both the city and Clayton County. And whereas Ms. Overton has lived in the city of Forest Park for over 60 years and survives two husbands, Luke Cox Sr. and John Overton, and has three sons, Luke Garrett Cox, David Cox, and Philip Cox, all of whom were veterans of the Vietnam War. She also has 6 grandchildren, 6 great-grandchildren, and 1 great-great-grandchild. Now, therefore it be resolved, the City Council of Forest Park hereby recognizes Elsie Cox Overton in celebration of her 104th birthday and as a beloved member of our community. Oh, and this is her birthday. Mr. Carl, you want to get in the picture? So this next proclamation is as a result of Forward.us, which is a national bipartisan organization that focuses on cutting through political gridlock to fix issues within our broken immigration and criminal justice systems. Immigrant Heritage Month, also known as IHM, is a nationwide effort to gather and share the inspirational stories of immigrants in America. Spearheaded by the I Am an Immigrant campaign by Forward.us, this year marks the 10th annual IHM. Oh, if you're here, if you're part of IHM or Forward, please come forward. Throughout the 9 years, Forward.us has worked closely with governors and mayors representing 46 states, including the White House, to help celebrate the contributions of immigrants. Okay, and so the proclamation is as follows. Throughout our nation's history, generations of courageous immigrants from around the world have helped build the American economy while also influencing the unique character of communities across the United States. And whereas, according to the American Immigration Council, the state of Georgia is home to nearly 1.1 million immigrants, making up approximately 11% of the state's total population. And whereas, each year, immigrants from coast to coast successfully launch new businesses that generate millions of jobs in America. And they are also employed in every major industry, including healthcare, public service, education, engineering, construction, agriculture, manufacturing, hospitality, and countless others. And whereas, despite these and many other incredible contributions, the role of immigrants in building and enriching our nation has frequently been overlooked and undervalued throughout our history, a trend that remains to this present day. And whereas immigrants are tirelessly leaders, not only in securing their own rights and access to equal opportunities, but have also campaigned to create a fairer and more just society for all those seeking to live the American dream. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the City Council of Forest Park hereby recognizes June 2023 as Immigration Heritage Month and honors the immeasurable contributions that many have made by immigrants here in Clayton County, as well as throughout the entire country. Okay, we'll also have some certificates for those that are here for Asian Heritage Month. We'll do it all together. And the certificate is as follows. The City of Forest Park Certificate of Recognition in honor of Asian American and Pacific Islander Month. And this certificate, we have the first South Atlanta Asian Community Center, someone from. Oh. Okay, we have Georgia Best Country Donuts. Is someone here from there? No? Okay. Beauty Bar and Nails? No. Truck Lamb Temple at Forest Park? Forest Park High School Asian Club? PNN Enterprise? All right, thank you. Oh, we're gonna take some pictures.
The first, non-American elected official was in Forest Park. No, not me, no. Oh, right here, Antoine, it was Antoine.
Tom Stidwell.
No, man.
I know, that was a good quiz. Let me see, presentation.
Oh, you started, okay.
All right, public comments. Does Michelle have that? I'll just see. So per our, okay, Ms. Hood, do you mind reading the disclaimer for our public comments as we have two?
Okay, section 2-1-7, rules of procedure and decorum. Public comments will be limited to a total of 3 minutes per speaker. 21 minutes allotted in total. If more than 7 potential speakers sign up to speak, said time will be divided among the speakers. All public comments must be limited to matters on the agenda or over which the governing body has jurisdiction. Each speaker must maintain a decorous demeanor and refrain from personal attacks upon members of the governing body, shouting and using obscene language.
Is that it? Oh, all right, we have two. Ms. Falami, you have the floor, ma'am. Can you set the timer, please?
As y'all can see, my little people standing behind me because they're
babies.
ready to go. Gave them a protocol to follow me. But good evening.
Good evening.
I want to take my 3 minutes to acknowledge our very fine Forest Park Police Department. I recall when our previous chief, Nathan Clark, was here and he made me aware that the doors to the house of the PD is always open. In saying that, to come to time now with our new chief, Chris, today, that policy does work. A week ago, I got a call from my family member about my grandson. Now, remind you, I have a scholar, just as you see these 2 young girls. And he was smelling himself. So I called over to see could I do a little straight. So I spoke with Sergeant Antel, and we execute that. And she got the team together and I went over about 1 o'clock. And I tell you, when they got my baby, I am a strong grandmother, but I almost said to them, leave my baby alone. But I promise you it worked. I want to give a big shout out to Detective Morgan, Malone, Sergeant Cantel. You just a dream and a jewel in our city. The young man up front, can't say his name, had to do that. Roselle. But the gentleman sitting on the very far end, that's Mr. Asthma, you know. That's our joke. But nevertheless, they also asked me to coach them in the recreation leisure of volleyball. When I got to them, I promise you all, when I say they was a hot mess. So I can imagine what the kickball looked like. But I gave them a soft skill that I give my scholars when I am actually coaching at the leisure. And many of my scholars doesn't know the floor set and the plan or whatever, how to set a volley. And I told all the female officers, you remember Lil Johnny used to pull your hair and run? So when the ball come, I want you to act like you getting that ball to hit Lil Johnny. And I said it to the guys, and you remember Lil Mary used to pick at you and run. You want to hit her with the ball. And I tell you, we end up winning our last set 15-25, 23-25, which they did cheat on us. I tell you that. Coach, they cheated on us. Because we do know the rules of volleyball, you can use kick. But I want to give it up for our PD department. They partner with our library system here. They are doing some amazing outreach, near and dear. And my time is up, but I promise y'all, I'm gonna give y'all 3 minutes.
Miss Adriana Laguna.
Hello, good afternoon. How's everyone doing?
Hi.
I'm sorry, this is my first public speaking, so.
You're fine.
Okay, well, to give us brief description about me, well, I lived here my whole life, grew up here, school down the street, 5 minutes, live in the house my whole life. And I realized that in this community, what we have is talent and like throughout the kids, and we lack communication. And I feel like that's why most of us are not where we're at, because we lack discipline. And then we just want to bash people and not think about what they have to say instead of like, oh, why are they doing this? No, just listen to them. If not, don't talk to them. And here in this community, I realized that right now it's been mainly Hispanics. Right now you see many Hispanics living here. And I see for us, in a way, our escape is soccer, because everyone here that I've seen, like from ages 2 to all the way to my uncles that are like 50, 40, they be playing soccer. And I realized, why not make it into a good competitive for kids to actually come out, have fun, play in a good way, express themselves, to do something instead of being home, doing whatever they're doing. Instead of just be outside, have fun, get to know one another, and see what they got to say, what they do. That way you get to learn from each other and see if you like to be around that person, or if you don't, if you want to do this, or if you don't, if you want to go out here, or you rather just stay where you're at, it's up to you. And this is a great community, but it could be better. But here we just don't care. Here and everybody in this community, I see that no one cares anymore. They just want to do their own thing, just be on their phones, worry about if I have this, if I have that. Yeah, that's fine if you have all of this, but in the future, what if you don't? All you're going to have is yourself. You might have no one else around you no more, but what if you have yourself? What happens if you don't have all those things? What are you going to do now? Are you just going to sit there and just think about, oh, I don't have this, I have that? Or are you going to do something and step up, or just do something for yourself? Because regardless, at the end of the day, everyone has their own thing. And everyone wants to create or learn or experience or do whatever that makes them whoever they want to be. And here we could do that, but everyone has been in their own little isolated mind saying, oh, I know how to do this. Oh, I know how to do that. But when it comes to the moment, where you at? You're not there. You're not speaking. You're not talking. You're not showing. If not, just be quiet. If you have something to say, do it first, and then you could talk about it, because you want to talk all this, but I don't see your name on the paper saying you're doing something, you're doing this. And that way the kids could realize you have something to look forward to, instead of just worrying about, oh, I don't have this, oh, they don't like me. It doesn't matter if they don't like you. Just do whatever you want. Regardless, people are going to talk, but as long as you know yourself that you like yourself, you love yourself. That's all that matters. And thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, is there a motion? No, you're fine. Thank you. Is there a motion to adopt tonight's agenda with the following additions?
So moved.
Item Item 12, use of the fund balance to fund acquisition of 833 Forest Parkway. And item 13, ratification of separation agreement with Sandra Johnson. Thank you.
So moved.
Okay, thank you. That was Councilman Antoine. Is there a second?
I'll second.
That was Councilwoman James. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Has everyone had the opportunity to review the work session minutes and the regular minutes from May 15th? And if so, are there any changes to be recommended? Not hearing any. Is there a motion to group said minutes together and approve as is?
So moved.
That was Councilman Ramirez, and that was a second by Councilman Gutierrez. Any further discussion? Councilwoman James, Councilman Antoine,
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez, Councilwoman Wells, and Councilman Mears. Item 6, council approval of cloud-based camera systems for the public safety building. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
That was Councilwoman James. Is there a second? That was Councilwoman Wells. Any further discussion? Councilwoman James?
Yes.
Councilman Antoine?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wells, and Councilman Mears. Item 7, council approval of GDOT maintenance contract. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
That was Councilwoman James. Is there a second?
Second.
That was Councilman Mears. Any further discussion? Councilwoman James?
Yes.
Councilman Antoine?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wells?
Yes.
And Councilman Mears. Item 8, council approval on the termination of the janitorial contract with Ascension Technologies and assigning said contract to Lorraine Cleaning Services. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Councilwoman James, is there a second?
Second.
That was Councilman Mears. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So I just wanted, clarity. I mean, city manager said he was gonna get clarity, so I probably abstain from voting. But I just know that, like I said, I was one of the people that was complaining. This other cleaning service, I had no idea about. So for one, I wanted to see where they come from, where, when did they do cleaning in the city of Forest Park? Because I always known it to be the same person, which was the cleaning service that you all about to approve right now. So I just wanted clarity because I don't want us to hire the same people we're complaining about.
Is,
So,
I'm sorry, is it-
Mr. Jeter,
is he still here? Okay, thank you.
Jeremy Patterson, the Deputy Finance Director.
Afternoon. Your question was, I'm sorry?
So I'm just trying to see, because I've never heard of that other cleaning service. And say we're doing away with that, but I've never heard of them. We've always had the same people to clean the building. And I know myself have been one of the people that complain about the service at our office. So I was just trying to see, where did this contract come from with these people? I'm sorry, I ain't on the
These
page.
people being
Lorraine?
Miss Lorraine.
No, not Ms. Lorraine.
Cyn-
Yes. Where did that contract come from? Because I've never known us to have a contract with them.
If I'm not mistaken, that was bidded out. But the reason why we've called for the emergency contract is based upon, your complaints as well as others. It was noted that she was the only one from the department or that company that was coming to clean thoroughly, as some people had, recommended. So decided to terminate the contract based on the complaints or the lack of compliance to said contract and issue the emergency in the interim with the individual that's actually doing the cleaning, if that makes sense.
It makes sense, but that's why I'm confused, because the individuals that are actually doing the cleaning, that's what I've been complaining about. So that's what I'm trying to understand. So I thought it was her own company. I didn't know it was,
She was a part of a larger company.
so I'm trying not to, because I love Miss Lorraine. I do. But I want the city to have the best services. And so I just want to understand what it is that I'm voting on. I don't just, get up
One of
here
the
and
things
vote.
I'll help clarify for you, Councilwoman Wells, this should last for a period not to exceed 2 weeks. to a
Temporary.
month.
Yes,
We are bidding the services out and we'll ensure that we get a qualified, whomever it ends up being, a qualified company for the full term of that contract.
correct.
To my understanding, this is just for Miss Lorraine. to perform the services until we can procure another contract.
An
with
actual
another
company,
vendor.
yes.
But Miss Lorraine is just her and another person. So to be taking on all of the buildings in the city, that it still won't be up to par because they can't handle all of that by themselves. So we will still be in the same situation that we're in now.
Until the RFP has been fulfilled and we attain another vendor.
I will call
Madam-
for the vote. You have a question?
No, I was just gonna make a comment just
Yes.
to clarify. I'm not sure the exact date of when we contracted out the janitorial service, but that was when we hired Essential Technologies. And so, the contract that we're doing the temporary work with right now was a subcontractor of that company. And so as I understand it, the company that we hired is not doing an adequate job. And so that's why they're asking for that complete contract to be terminated, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It makes a lot of sense, but I'm saying
It's a subcontract.
I understand your
Subcontractor,
question,
that's the-
Councilwoman Wells.
you know, I'm trying not to say it, but I'm just being honest, but okay.
Councilwoman James.
Yes.
Councilman Antoine.
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez. Councilwoman Wells.
I abstain.
Okay, and Councilman Mears. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council approval of a resolution for City of Forest Park Medical Plan Renewal. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
That was Councilwoman James. Is there a second?
Second.
That was Councilman Antoine. Any further discussion? Councilwoman James?
Yes.
Councilman Antoine?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez? Councilwoman Wells? And Councilman Mears? Thank you. Council approval of Peachtree Recovery Services. Is there a motion to approve this item?
Madam Mayor, make a motion that we approve this item contingent on the agreement with the percentage that the city manager had
Just
spoken about.
negotiated.
Yes.
Was that 16.5?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
That was Councilwoman Wells. Any further discussion? Councilwoman James?
Yes.
Councilman Antoine?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez? Councilwoman Wells?
Yes.
And Councilman Mears?
Yes, ma'am.
Council approval for amendment of the city holiday ordinance. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Councilwoman James, is there a second?
Second.
That was Councilman Mears. Any further discussion? Councilwoman James?
Yes.
Councilman Antoine?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez? Councilwoman Wells? And Councilman Mears. Item 12. Is there a motion to use the fund balance to fund the acquisition of 833 Forest Parkway?
So moved.
Councilwoman James, is there a second?
Second.
That was Councilman Antoine. Any further discussion? Councilwoman James?
Yes.
Councilman Antoine?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez? Councilwoman Wells? And Councilman Mears.
Yes, ma'am.
Item 13, ratification of the separation agreement with Sandra Johnson. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
That was Councilwoman Wells. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Councilwoman James, any further discussion? Councilwoman James?
Yes.
Councilman Antoine?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez? Councilwoman Wells?
Yes.
And Councilman Mears.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Closing comments by the governing body. Councilwoman James, you have the floor.
Madam Mayor, can you come back to me and I'll ask Ms. Hood if she could have my pictures of. ready?
Yes, ma'am. Councilman Antoine.
Welcome to all the new recruits. Welcome to the All-Star team and happy Father's Day. God bless everybody.
Thank you. Councilman Gutierrez.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you, Chief Chris, for sharing those brave stories. I just really enjoy listening to what our officers are doing out there. And yeah, just shout out to some directors, with all the stuff you've been helping me with. Food Truck Friday was a success. We celebrated a lot of our dads. We had nice weather. Thank you for helping Dr. Falami. She stays there in the ward, so I appreciated, y'all helping her. To the young lady, that was very brave of you to come up there. It can be very nerve-wracking. Public speaking is actually the biggest fear over death. It's public speaking and then dying. So it's more fearful for people to public speak than to die. Yeah, it's real. It's an article said that.
Article.
Yeah, it was surveyed. But anyway, thank you for sharing that. And yeah, I will be traveling to Philadelphia. Hopefully I run into one of the Georgia Bulldogs that recently went up there to play for that team. I'll be back on Thursday. Friday. So if y'all need anything, I will be available over the phone. I can't go visit you at your house, but y'all are in good hands. And yeah, just I feel like I should say something else. Oh, this lady that turned 104 years old. Jesus, that's amazing. If I make it to half of that, I will be happy. So Happy birthday to you, ma'am. Great
Thank
job, Mayor,
you.
reading all that.
Thank you. Councilwoman Wells.
Yes. I would just like to say congratulations and thank you to our new paramedics and welcome to all of our new staff, our captains, our majors. Thank you, Chief Chris, for coming in and taking on the duty and doing an amazing job. So just thank you so much for all that you have done and will do. I also want to say a huge thank you. Officer Ellis, I wanted him to stay. I wanted to joke with him about that dancing on that video too, because that was hilarious. But on a serious note, thank you all so much. Because you know, you all are here to protect and serve, but nowhere in your job description it says that you have to go above and beyond. So we need more like you, and we're glad to have you in our community, and we thank you for going above and beyond the call of duty. And I'll say it just like I say it every time, and Mr. Clark is gonna get tired of me. But I just think we should do a little more when we have employees that go above and beyond the call of duty, because you don't have to. So thank you so much. And I also want to say thank you to our Parks and Rec Director, Mr. Tariq. I don't think you get enough praises for what you do. You know, I know we all plan a lot of events and we take over your park and we do a lot, but you are there, you are hands-on, and you're very supportive. And I just want to say thank you so much. We needed you. And we got you, and just thank you for all that you do. And I also want to remind you all, Fun Friday, June 16th from 7 to 11, another event that Mr. Maxwell has his hands in. So thank you all. I hope you all come out. We'll have a live band. We have the VIP tables, vendors, just entertainment, something for you to enjoy your community. So I hope to see some of you there. Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you. Councilman Mears.
Yes, ma'am. I too want to thank and congratulate our new troops in our fire and police department. And last meeting, I was trying to get started the recognition of the oldest participating person that lived in Forest Park, which we just had her here to start with, Miss Overton, that we give a proclamation to. There she is there. I didn't know we was going that deep to start with, but she looks real good for her age, I guarantee. She looks younger than me, and I ain't but 55, Mama, come on. Thank you for coming.
Councilwoman James.
Yes, so I have a picture, I believe, of a dinner that I hosted at Forest Park High School for our parents. And I just wanted to give a special thanks to Lieutenant Lewis, Officer Bailey, Officer Shelton, Miss Dixon, Miss Williams, and also Miss Adriana Laguna, who's over there. She came out and helped volunteer to serve our parents some delicious food. So I wanted to really thank you all for helping to make that a success for our parents. I also want to give a special shout out to our class of 2023. We did host a caravan for them. I want to give a special thanks to New Fusion Car Club. We'll be presenting them with a certificate, as well as the Atlanta Elite Slingshot Outlaw, who helped to make that a success for our seniors. I want to remind everyone that June 23rd, we're going to have Gifts at the Park. Gifts at the Park is sponsored by Helping Hands Ending Hunger. They have purchased a large tractor trailer load full of goods that are brand new from Good 360. That include bedding, shoes, clothing, bags, everything that you can think of. And we'll be giving it away completely free, and it'll be at Forest Park High School. You do have to register. At last check, I think we had like 71 families that had registered, but there is a flyer that has a QR code that you can go on and register. We're also seeking volunteers. We have some great partnership with Blue Star Studio, Robinson Weeks. I don't want to forget anybody. Chick-fil-A. Oh gosh. See, that's what happens when you start naming names. But anyway, we'll have t-shirts and they'll have the sponsors on the back of the t-shirt. So everybody will be able to be recognized. But we want volunteers for that 4 days, starting on June 21st. So June 21st, the truck will arrive at Forest Park High School. We will unload and unpack the truck and get it all laid out in the gym area. The 22nd, we'll do the sorting. The 23rd is when the families will come in and shop. And the 24th is our cleanup day. And the remainder of what's left, we will be donating to the Rock Church of Atlanta. Thank you. I couldn't think of it. But that's going to be a very huge event. So please come out for that. Also remember, on the third Thursday of the month, I have my ward meetings, and I will find out on Wednesday or Thursday if we will have air, and we'll be at 696. I'm hoping that we'll continue to be able to be at 696 Main Street. But thank you all so much for coming out. And I echo everything that my colleagues said about our new staff, and they're going above and beyond. And thank you all for just coming out, and we appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to adjourn? That was Mears. Is there, Councilman Mears, is there a second?
I'll second.
That was Councilwoman Wells. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?